What's up guys, how's it going? Welcome back to MR2 Mondays. Last week we put a new shift knob in the car, and while the shifter feels a lot better, it could feel even better. There's like a little bit of slop in it, and the throw is like considerably longer now because the whole shift knob is sitting higher up. So what I'm hoping that we can do today is use a short shifter to shorten the throw, and maybe we can stiffen up some of the shift play that's in there right now because the kit also comes with some aluminum bushings. So we're gonna dig into the MR2 again for another week and see what we got. So just for the record here, I wanted to show you kind of what we're dealing with when we get into the car. So deep into the crevices of here, and I've had this out before. There's a little bolt down there and a little bolt kind of back here, which is very easily accessible. There's one on each side. There's a good bit of debate on whether or not you can get in there with or without taking the seats out. I'm gonna leave the seats in. I've already proven to myself that I can get those bolts out without removing the seat, so I'm not gonna spend any extra time trying to do that. So I'm just gonna rip them out, get the center console up. You guys have seen that process before, and then we'll just move from that point on because I don't know how to take the actual shifter out. So that's gonna be the adventure part. So let me get that all wrapped up real quick, and I'll update you at that point. So this is the stock shifter. It's kind of gross and crusty, like. All right, well, what's up? Ryan from the future here. It was right when I saw this frame that I realized that there's a problem I had later on when I was putting this back together that I kind of just messed up on actually. The spring that you see here in this image, you see how the prongs of that spring behind that metal arm are coming outwards. When I put it all back together, I thought they had to face the other way. So when I put this back together in the video, you will see me putting them the other direction. I realized my error now. I've already fixed it. I didn't film me fixing it. I just fixed it. But I fixed it in like 10 minutes. So MR2 efficiency went up. Considering how long it took me to take it apart and put it back together the first time, mostly because I was having issues with that spring thing. But regardless, like, no issues this time. So that felt good actually. Like, look at that. I don't know how long that's been in there or what it is even, but we're gonna get this all kind of pulled out. There's a couple bolts that we need to remove down here, I believe. Yeah, these little gold bolts that are hiding right back there. Those need to come out, and those are what's gonna be replaced by the, with the new shifter bushings that we have over there, and there's longer screws for it as well, as you saw. So I think the first thing is to kind of get the actual shifter assembly up and out. Once we get the shifter out, we'll probably put in the new bushings. Once we get the new bushings in, we'll put in the new shifter and see how they're different, if they're different. I'm sure they're gonna be very different. Well, little unexpected stopping point here. I didn't think about needing new grease. I know I need it now, but I didn't think about it ahead of time. So I thought I had some. I don't have any, so we gotta go get some grease at the store, and we'll come back to this. But so far, pretty smooth sailing, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think I was gonna be this far by myself, and here I am. One thing I do kinda wanna do is check out how dirty it is in here. Like, it just kind of looks gross. I want to see if we can kind of clean that up a little bit. I'm probably going to do that off camera, just like get all these parts over here cleaned as well, because, you know, a lot of this stuff is like also kind of nasty. So we'll get all that taken care of, and then we'll go from there. So in the meantime, before I go and get the grease, I want to take out these gold bolts here, and then there's one tucked under here, another kind of tucked down under there. Those are holding this whole kind of thing down, and there are some bushings underneath it that are rubber. So I want to get those replaced, and we'll try and get those pulled out right now before I have to go to the store. Okay, I finally got all of these in their spots. It took me quite a while. I ended up taking the shifter cables off. I think if I did them one at a time, I wouldn't have had to do that at all. It wouldn't have been a factor, but it was. So now we're just tightening it all down. Okay, well, good morning. It's the next day. I decided I didn't want to finish up doing the shifter last night, so I thought, oh, I'll do it this morning. Turns out we actually have a trip that we're going to be going on real quick here to pick up some parts for the STI, but I wanted to show you really quick what we've done, so here it is. So I got the shifter all torn apart, re-greased everything that needed grease, so if it had grease when it came off the car, it got grease when it went on the car. There were a couple spots here and there where I'm like, I'm not sure if this actually needs grease, but if it looked like it needed it, it got it. Anything that's gonna be moving and rotating and things like that, that all got greased. So we're gonna get ready to put it back in the MR2, and that'll have to happen in just a second because we're going on our little trip right now. Okay, I'll see you when I see you. All right, we finally got the shifter in. I wanted to take you guys in here really quick so you can see everything. Took a long time to get like the spring to work. So I was having a lot of issues getting the shifter to actually return to its resting spot here in neutral. So it was working really well this direction, but it wasn't working so well the other direction. I've got to a spot where I'm happy, and I've kind of forced this spring to be further into this plastic here, so it resists at a sooner point. It has a stop down below that little black piece where it naturally wants to be, but it just wasn't providing enough tension. And it's not gonna go anywhere. It's held in by all these pins and locks and everything, so it's probably not gonna actually move, so I'm not too worried about it coming loose. But if it does, I guess that'll be a problem for that day. I don't think it's going to though, I really don't. So now we're basically just gonna tie up the rest of the car, and we'll be done and all put back together. Alrighty, we're all done here. What you just saw was kind of a big pain in the butt, but essentially those tiny screws that I couldn't get at when I was, or that I could barely get to when I was taking everything out, there was no way to get them back in. I just didn't have the right angle or leverage, so I had to pull the seat, otherwise it wouldn't have gone back in. But everything's all done. I don't have the steering knob in the perfect spot, it's kind of all cattywampus. It's not lined up properly in terms of where the lettering is, but it's completely in terms of where it's going to go. So I'm gonna hop in the car here. Like I said earlier, getting this to return properly to center took me a little while in terms of getting the spring where I wanted it, but it definitely returns to center now, so there's no sloppiness there. The shifts are much smoother. There's still a weight to it, for sure, a stiffness, but there is a lot of play that is missing. This play is a lot less prevalent, and this play is also a lot less prevalent. It's still there, but it feels a lot I don't know, firmer. So it's awesome. Basically, what we got to do now is take it for a test drive, and then we will be on our way, set to go, ready to shift, rock and roll. Okay, well, I'll tell you, for right off the rip here, I've been, shifting on my way to this spot, and I'm not in love with it. I like how short the throws are, but the lack of centering to neutral is more prevalent, and I'm not 100% sure why it's a little bit harder to shift to neutral, because the spring is in theory in the same spot. My only guess is that the length of the ball head that the linkage uses to grab onto the shifter itself is not the same. I think the lengths are just slightly different and just enough to have it be not ideal. As I'm rowing through it now, and it's a little bit more intentional of a drive and more intentional of a shift, it's not bothering me as much, but there's certainly just more effort involved. And this like back forth 3-4, 3-4, that's fine. I think the problem will come more when I like is a 3-2 and a 2-3. I think those are going to be the more challenging shifts. So we'll see if we can do a couple of those here. And it's just, there's more effort involved. Maybe a taller shift knob would help with some of the effort I have to put into a shift, but it just doesn't have like a necessarily like positive engagement feel. I think I'm gonna keep it on the car for a little while, see if it breaks in or if I learn to like it. But if I continue to not like it, I definitely think this is something I'm gonna want to return back to and kind of adjust again. We'll see if we can try getting into second gear up here. Yeah, into 3 is fine. Down to 2 is tough. I think there's definitely some improvements to be made into the shifter, but seeing as we're going to be using the car mostly for things like autocross, where I'm probably not going to be out of third gear or out of second gear that often, I think we might be better off kind of putting it on the back burner because we don't know what engine we're going to be putting in this car at the end of the day. And I just want to make sure that whatever we do put in there has a shifter that matches up here. So if we can like upgrade to a different kind of shifter, that would also just maybe help along with the new transmission and everything. But I don't know, see, because that every now and then, like, that does feel good. It's when you have to go from like the left side to the middle to the right side, that's where I feel like there's a problem. But just the back, forth, up, down, like 3 and 4, which are the gears that I find myself in the most in this car, those feel good. Visually though, the shifter's way off. Like, it looks like it's in like 4th gear right now. If I put it into 5th gear, like visually that's 5th gear, and like that could easily be 3rd in my opinion, like if I was just looking at it. So, and I do worry about that. The 5 to 4 shift, that's tough. And that's a bad money shift. I still do like the feel of this shift knob, but it might need to be taller. But again, I don't know how much money I really want to pour into this because we might be changing. I think at the end of the day, it just feels like it doesn't necessarily want to just pop into place. You're putting it in its place. So if you like having more of like a really forceful, direct feel, then that might be perfect for you. But I know on the Fiesta that I daily drive, it feels so positive putting it into gear. Maybe I'm spoiled by that. Or maybe it really is that this just isn't quite the shifter for me. And I think that's what shifting mostly is personal preference. Because, I mean, that's why there's so many variables with it. But I'm gonna give this a solid chance. I'm gonna drive around with it for a while, and then who knows, we might have to open it back up and tweak some stuff. So I think my next step for this car will be its brakes. The brakes don't, I don't know what's up with the brakes. They're 20 years old. I want to just make sure they're all fresh, get new rotors, new pads, new fluids, stainless lines. I might also look into bracing the brake pedal itself. So probably what we'll be doing real soon. Stick around, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You know, we have a lot of cool things going on, I feel like, and I'm sure to share them all with you. So take it easy, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.